The American Deer and Wildlife Alliance is proud to present Deer and Wildlife Stories. I'm Keith Warren.
Right on, baby.
I'm a hunter, a fisherman,
That's what you don't want to do. See, that thing's going all the way through my hand.
a conservationist,
Oh, come on.
a family man, and I'm proud to be a deer farmer.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm taking a road trip, and we're going behind the scenes of today's most innovative deer farmers and wildlife management operations in North America.
Is there a format?
No, we're just having fun.
This is Deer and Wildlife Stories.
Keep that mic on all the time.
Okay, so you got
And-
two batches of phones here
Ready to go, yeah.
ready to go?
This is like our normal routine every day. Feeding fawns.
One thing that you'll find at most deer farms around the country is that the family farm is alive and well. And these are Ricky Cleveland's kids, and most farmers wind up using their kids. It teaches them a lot of good habits. I mean, they learn responsibility, they learn respect, they learn to work, and so the American farm is alive and well. It just kind of changed a little bit. And now deer farming is in. See, Alabama is one of those states just like Texas. Your borders are closed.
Yes,
you can't
sir.
bring deer in, and you can't take deer out. And so the way that they're improving genetics here is through artificial insemination. You can bring in and take out semen. So that's
Right.
what's being done here.
Yes, sir. But this is where it starts, you know, bottle feeding the doe fawns, getting them used to coming in out of the barn.
Now, every day these fawns are not trapped up inside like this. They're inside like this to be fed, to be taken care of, but every day they get a chance to go outside too, and they learn how to become a deer. So we're going to show you how they go outside.
Keith, what we do is we work them through the barn to get them climaxed. You know, we want to keep them as wild can be, but we let them come outside every day to graze on chicory and clover to get them out of the barn in between feedings. But the main thing for bottle feeding is where we can handle them in and out of the barn.
How y'all doing? Huh? Lucky deer?
Oh, they'll have it made the rest of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
All right, which one of y'all is Roddy? Which one's David?
I'm David Reagan.
I'm Keith Warren.
Nice to
Rodney
meet you.
Reagan,
Nice
welcome
to
to
meet
Triple R Whitetails.
Hey, well, thanks, and we're here for breakfast time. Let's go. I want to see what y'all do.
All right.
Well, this is good. I like being out here before the sun gets up real good. How many deer y'all have?
We have around 32, I believe.
I don't see any of them. Camera shy. Unfortunately, with me, a lot of them get that way. Coming, they know I kind of have a sweet thing for venison. Hey, hey, hey! There's no nipples on that camera. I can promise you that.
We enjoy deer farming because of one, it doesn't take a lot of land to do it. On an acre of land like this, you can raise approximately 10, run at least 10 bred does. It's profitable to us. You know, it hasn't. Most of our profit's been returned into our business. We've invested back into it, trying to grow bigger deer, better deer. We return money back in the local economies. We buy a lot of deer feed. We've spent a lot of money on fencing and shade cloth and feeder sheds and milk. We spent a lot of money on milk this year. We built a handling facility. Like I said, we've invested everything back into our business, trying to get better genetics on our farm.
Come on, Keith, you gotta let me show you this deer chute that we've engineered and designed right here at Triple R Whitetails. Our concept behind this was to eliminate all the extra people it takes to operate a manual deer chute.
Right.
So we engineered this to, basically you can work our deer through the barn with one man if
Show me.
necessary.
Show me how that works.
The deer, once they trip this laser beam here, floor falls, the door opens, and the deer is totally accessed, hanging in the wedge.
Wow.
Next year up, automatic reset.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, you can get rid of all those all those guys that stand around most of the time.
That's right.
I may have to have one of these. If it works, I know it's gonna work. I'm gonna have to have one of these. This is good.
So if you enjoy deer, you'll really enjoy this business. Where else can you take a kid out with a bottle, stick it in a fawn's mouth like you've seen this morning? But we have fun. It's an enjoyable thing for the family to do. They all get involved, especially when it comes fawning time and feeding time. So if you'd like to know more about how to get started in this business, you can contact any member of the ADA, it's Alabama Deer Association. They'd be glad to help you get started.
All right, Keith, we appreciate you coming out today.
Well, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Enjoyed having you.
I wish I could stay longer, but there's a lot of farms I gotta go to here, and I want to do it before it gets hot.
Well, you have a good day, man.
Appreciate you. Y'all take care. Deer and Wildlife Stories is brought to you in part by the North American Deer Farmers Association, New Dart, the North American Deer Registry, DNA Solutions, and Dream Ranch. Morning.
How you doing?
I'm Keith.
I'm Matt Long.
Hey, Matt.
Keith John Long.
Hey, John. Nice to meet you.
Bart Long.
Hey, Mark. Okay, who's going to get the microphone on? Hang this off your belt. Yeah, we're going around. We're going to different deer farms here in Alabama. Okay, and Matt, I want you to be aware of something that microphone I just put on you. That thing, we had to get special microphones coming to Alabama. We know Will Ainsworth here. And,
Yeah, we-
and that no seriously, and that microphone right there, if you lie, it'll shock you.
Really?
Yeah, we didn't get that for you. We got that for Will.
Oh, okay, I got you. I got
Just
you.
want you-
I know he's highly connected, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, Will told me a lot about y'all. When'd you get out of jail? All right, so what's in this pen?
This right here is some of our mature does that we've got.
Okay, let me ask you this. What is your feeling as far as the NADR, National Deer Registry, and the importance of DNA in animals?
I think it's a great thing. We are going to be doing more of that now here, but as far as from a deer farmer's perspective, it gives you the written results, what that deer really is.
So y'all are at a point that the NADR, I think, would be certainly more effective to y'all because there's fewer people there, and you can start now, so that way when you get 4 or 5 years down, you've got all these deep pedigrees.
Right.
You can prove it. And so we're talking earlier about genetics. The only way you can prove it is to have a good proven pedigree, and that's through DNA and the
That's right.
NADR.
In these pens here, we manually change the water every day.
Yeah, I get the chaff mini pellets at a time. A lot of people will think this is mold, but it's not. Okay, that's yeast. And what I wind up doing, I'll just break it up, and they seem to eat that a little bit easier. Tell me historically about the farm.
Well, the farm goes back many years. My granddad's farm. He was in the poultry business and the cattle business. After he died, my dad stayed with the cattle business, my dad and my uncle. So we started looking at it, started putting numbers together. Would it make sense to do the deer business here? And my dad, he's a very conservative businessman. His first response was no. So we stayed with it, and after about our third attempt with our dad, we convinced him to get in the deer business. His view on the deer business now is that he said, guys, I wish we'd have gotten in the deer business about 2 years sooner than what we did.
Lesson learned, lesson learned. The more you know about something, the better informed decision you can make about something.
Absolutely. You don't need a lot of acreage, and you can take whitetail deer, and it can be a very profitable business for you.
Howdy, Terry. I'm Keith. Nice to meet you.
Yes.
What's your name? Cody. Hey, Cody. Nice to meet you. And you are?
Jennifer.
Hey, Jennifer. And you are beautiful. What's your name? Hey, well, nice to meet y'all. Well, they say you can't grow big deer in Alabama. Prove me wrong.
They say you can't, but we're working on it. We're
Show me
trying
what you
real
got.
hard. We got a lot of guys down here working really hard on it.
Well, I've seen some big ones, so
Okay.
let's see what you got.
Let's look around. Like anything else, you know, if you're gonna have pride in something that takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of your time, you know, we pride what we do, and of course one of our goals is to grow, you know, big deer, but enjoy it while we're doing it. If we're not enjoying it, we're gonna quit.
Oh, well, that's a pretty cool deal right there. I mean, you don't have to go in that pen this way, do you? Yeah, I like that.
We started in '98 So we've been doing this for quite a while.
Yeah.
Started out as a hobby. So
It's addictive, isn't it?
it's a passion.
It
you know.
is. The people that are in the deer business love deer so much. I mean, but you're a hunter, I'll bet you, aren't you?
Right.
I mean, and I think every deer farmer is a
Right.
hunter, and it's our love of the deer, the passion that we have for the deer, that leads us into deer farming.
Mm-hmm.
Southern born and northern bred. Genetics, baby. I want to point something out. That many deer farms that we go to are out in the middle of the country. This deer farm, if you look over there, there's a big water tower right there. This is in a beautiful subdivision.
What we left these summer cedars in here for is that it reduces the ticks and fleas.
Yep. With the flies and all.
Right.
They'll get in this and they'll lie down in this, and then when they get up and move along, it rubs along their sides, and so it's good to leave a little bit of cover like in the pens for them.
I'm a teacher by profession, and I use the deer farming business to help educate my children and to teach them values, as well as others who come to visit our farm. Our children learn responsibility, they learn respect, and it brings our family close together. So it's a family business, but it's a good way to educate other people on the business.
Smile, baby. Deer and Wildlife Stories is brought to you in part by Chaffee, Pasture in a Bag, Oilfield Camo, Record Rack Deer Feeds, and S&S Whitetail Galore. All right, Rusty, stick this on, please, sir. Michael, I understand you're the boss around here. Do you mind putting this microphone on? By the way, I'm Keith.
I'm Michael.
All right, Michael. All right, show me what you got, big boy. So how long you been a deer farmer? Obviously a long time ago. Michael is a young Alabama deer farmer. Michael, tell me about these deer. Oh, Max Boa blazing. Look at that dude right there. He's got the blood in him. Now you got live deer outside too?
My dad's not a very good driver.
Deer farmers come in all ages and sizes. That's what I like about it. You got seat belts on this thing? Where'd you go to college?
These small fences are runs for our bottle raised fawns. Fawns spend most of the day outside, and then at night they come in the barn.
Check this out. It's nice. I know. I'm not Will Ainsworth, but I'm about the next best thing right now. You know, he's got a radio up here. Well, it was playing a little bit ago, and the reason why is to get the fawns settled down, so they're used to noise. You had it on music on my place. They're listening to Rush Limbaugh. But I like conservative deer. Look at this, Mark. I mean, these pins are perfect. These are perfect. Ricky Cleveland could learn something from this. I just love the pins. Every pin I've seen so far in Alabama is beautiful.
This pen right here is the pen we wean our doe fawns into, and the purpose of that is we're in this pen every day.
Give an opportunity with a deer farm to have something for Michael that most kids his age don't have.
Well, that's what it's all about. This is Michael's last week before he starts football practice. It's the last week he could have gone on a vacation. I asked him if he wanted to go to the beach or go to the farm. He wants to go to the farm. He now appreciates and loves the deer for the same reasons that I did when I was that age and more. And I can't wait for him to continue to grow and learn and understand more and come to appreciate it on an even deeper level.
To raise healthy deer, you need to try to do everything you can to keep them where they're calm. That includes worry about insects. Rusty has a system here that he puts an insecticide in here for flies, midge flies, and regular house flies, and puts it in here, and it wicks down these ropes. And the deer walk underneath these little ropes to get to their water every day. And then when they do that, this gets on them, and it keeps the flies off of them and makes their life less stressful. I'd have never thought it, but just outside of Huntsville, Alabama, we've run into some Southern Yankees. We're over here at the Kennedy place. Let me introduce you to them. Hey, Terry. Good to see you.
Terry Kennedy, my wife Belinda.
Hey,
Hi.
nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Well, I know y'all aren't Yankees.
No, we're not Yankees, just our deer.
Okay, well show me some Yankee deer then.
Let's go do it.
Come on, fellas. Well, how do you feel that the general public, I should say the hunters in Alabama, have accepted the deer farming industry?
You know, the average hunter doesn't have the opportunity to go and hunt these deer in the wild this big. And it gives them an opportunity to be able to do that.
Well, and also I think that we're gonna, we always hear that the price of hunting is going up and it's escalating, and that's the reason why a lot of people are dropping out. I'm a believer that we're going to see the price actually go down, and I think it's going to be more affordable for hunters to go in preserves in the future. Look at your best yearlings. I mean, they are really good, and it would be a shame if they were in the wild. A hunter more than likely would go ahead and shoot one.
Absolutely.
Because it's the biggest deer they're going to probably ever see, but they're only a baby. And just imagine if you allow them to mature. Well, tell me what the Alabama Deer Association means to you. Why it's important for people to be a member of that, in your opinion?
The Alabama Deer Association is a way for us to have a voice in Montgomery and for us to be able to continue to do the things we enjoy doing outdoors.
I encourage everybody that calls themselves a deer enthusiast.
That's right.
A deer enthusiast. Yeah. That's what deer associations are for, and they're full of deer enthusiasts.
Yeah, and you don't have to be a deer farmer to be associated with these associations. You know, we'd love to have you if you just love deer.
Yeah, and if you've got any questions about any deer association, come to a function, and you'll learn that these people they love the animals. We're passionate about it, and we'll try to share that passion with you. Well, thank y'all for showing me the place. It's beautiful. It's nice to get to know y'all. I gotta find Will.
Good luck finding him, man.
Lord only knows where he is. He's all over the place.
I know.
You never know with Will. Deer and Wildlife Stories is brought to you in part by Bad Boy Mowers and Multi-Terrain Vehicles, BuckBreeders.com, Whitetail Sales and Service, and SeamanSupply.com. Breed only the best.
ADA, which is the Alabama Deer Association, is for whitetail enthusiasts. Our mission is to, number one, is to protect the Alabama deer industry, and number two is to promote the deer industry. We have people that have large tracts of land that don't have a fence around them, large tracts of land that are high fenced. We also have deer farmers that have anywhere from 5 acres that are raising whitetail deer to deer farmers that have a 50-acre farm where they're raising whitetail deer. Some guys don't own any property. They're just whitetail enthusiasts that want to learn more about whitetail deer, but the one common passion everybody shares is the love of whitetail deer, and that's what unites us as the ADA.
How long have you been raising deer?
We started in 2003 is when we first got started.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you were going to give somebody one piece of advice, what would that one piece of advice be?
I think definitely would be to buy quality genetics. Hands down.
I knew that was going to happen. And that's what you need to do.
The Southeast isn't known for having genetically superior deer. Now that's one of the things the ADA's changed. We have 200-inch yearlings now, 250-inch 2-year-olds in the state of Alabama, and it's amazing what we've been able to do with genetics. We've got 13 pens on this facility. Each pen's about 1.5 acres to 2 acres in size. We normally like to run about 7 deer an acre, so max we'll have in any of these pens about 14 mature deer. Most of these deer end up on properties for propagation purposes. A landowner will take these deer, he'll release them on his property, they'll never be harvested. They're there for genetic improvement to increase the genetic potential of his herd. Me and my wife Kendall, we have just fortunate we just had 2 twin boys, Hunter and Hayes, that are 7-month-old. Can't wait for them to be able to be raised on a farm, to help bottle feeding, to help bush hogging pens. Growing up on a farm, I think definitely teaches them a lot of characteristics I want to instill in them: hard work, responsibility, respect, and really just the love of animals and the outdoors is something I can't wait to get to share with our boys growing up. There are rules and regulations and laws that deal with deer farming in Alabama. If any of you guys are interested and it's a blast, I'd recommend you get in it. Contact the ADA, log on our website. We'll be glad to help you get set up in the business.
I hope you enjoyed today's show. And for more information on today's featured deer farmer, you can log on to our website where we'll have a direct link from our site to theirs. And now, a conservation message brought to you by the Hunter Heritage Foundation. 100 years ago, raising animals and tending the land was pretty mainstream. It was a way of life handed down by our grandfathers and their fathers before them. But landowners are finding it increasingly difficult to pay the bills, and that way of life is fading from the American landscape. Thankfully, deer farming is giving many families a whole new outlook on land stewardship. Deer farming is a rapidly growing industry and a great alternative agricultural pursuit for families. Compared to traditional livestock, the deer industry is booming. It generates $3 billion for the United States economy and supports tens of thousands of jobs in small communities across the country. In fact, a Texas A&M study reports deer farming as one of the fastest growing industries in rural America. Raising deer helps our conservation efforts, but more importantly, deer farming helps us preserve our American outdoor tradition and gives the next generation a connection with nature we're so desperately missing. The white-tailed deer is the most popular big game animal in North America, and there's no reward greater than watching and caring for these amazing animals. You can now watch full episodes of Deer and Wildlife Stories and our sister program, The High Road, online 24/7 at keithwarren.net. While you're there, check out our Facebook fan page where you can become eligible to win prizes and more. This program is dedicated to the brave men and women of the United States military, past, present, and future. May God bless America. Coming up next week.
Oh, I already missed it. Y'all better not laugh. That sounds like he's mad. I ain't kidding you. Oh.
This program is dedicated to the men and women of the United States Armed Forces, past, present, and future.
I'm Keith Warren. I'm a hunter, a fisherman.
I'm throwing a big old bait because I'm looking for big old fish.
A conservationist.
Oh, come on.
A family man. And I'm proud to be a deer farmer. I'm taking a road trip, and we're going behind the scenes of today's most innovative deer farmers and wildlife management operations in North America. This is Deer and Wildlife Stories.
I'm Dee Murphy, the manager of Hurricane Creek Lodge, and when I heard that Keith Warren was coming to Alabama with his Deer and Wildlife Stories, I thought that was a pretty cool idea.
We got here just in the nick of time. This is Dee Murphy coming out here to get me. We got a doe in trouble. We were in Alabama, and we're gonna be touring deer farms up here in northwestern Alabama, but we gotta start out right now helping save a doe's life.
We have a doe that we think that has impacted jaw, and we're gonna go dart her and clean it out. It's all part of being a deer farmer.
Driving along the outside of the pen, trying to get close enough to this doe to take a shot, put a dart in her and put her down.
The ADA is the Alabama Deer Association, and we've been a member for 5 or 6 years now since we've been in the deer business, and we really believe in it. It's a great organization to be a part of. We all need to be together, especially when it comes to part of any kind of political issues, any battles that we might have.
There she is. Oh. Better get broadside first.
Back, 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 back. Good shot. Good shot, Cody.
All right. Good, good, good.
Got the darn animal ready to go now.
Well, typically in 8 to 10 minutes is what I've found, that 8 to 10 minutes and they're asleep. And so, new dart?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. That's what I use. All right. Somebody got a watch? Look at this. You got 3 men with no watch. We'll know when she's asleep.
We
We'll
go by
hear
the
her.
sun.
Yeah, we go by the sun right now. We'll know when she's asleep, we'll hear her. She sounds like my cameraman when she's sleeping. These guys are fixing to get real busy. I'm gonna tell you what they're gonna do. Okay, what they're doing now, sub-Q, they're putting an IV in. They've inserted a needle in here to give her some fluids. It's hot outside. It got up close to 100 today. And so they're gonna give her some fluids. It's just underneath the surface of the skin. And as they're working on it, you're gonna see it start to bulge up like this because the fluid is going in through this needle underneath the skin. The fluid is gonna be absorbed into the body. So it just keeps her well hydrated.
What's impacted, Joe?
Impacted, that means it's food. She's probably got a tear inside her mouth. And as she eats, she gets food down in the hole. And it goes up inside and it can get really, really nasty. Okay, see that? Open up. Goodness gracious. See this? It's her food. Okay, that was food that's up inside there. Good. Gotta get this all cleaned out. I know it's not a fun job, but it's a job that has to be done when you're on a deer farm. If you don't do it, a deer can get infected and die.
I'm gonna let you put some of this iodine, betadine on your glove.
And then
rub it all in there.
Yes, sir. Give me some. Got it. See, and there's really no way to fix it. Just all you gotta do is clean it out and hope that Mother Nature fixes it herself. Give her an antibiotic, treat her for infection, clean it out the best you can, and then watch her. Put her on the watch list. Okay. All right. Let's get her tongue out there. They're giving her injections right now. Baytril and Draxxin are two unbelievable good drugs to give them. I'll be honest with you guys, it really didn't, it wasn't as bad as what I thought.
You've done a good job, Keith.
I've done that before. All right, we're gonna wait about 30 to 45 minutes to hit them with a reversal drug. All right, like I said, we got here just in the nick of time, but you know what? I'm glad we were able to show you that. It's just another day in the life of being a deer farmer. We'll have more from Alabama. Don't go anywhere.
Deer and Wildlife Stories is brought to you in part by the American Deer and Wildlife Alliance, Deer Guardian Misting Systems, Four Canyons Ranch, Hoff Power Polaris, and LE Fence Company.
I knew when Keith came to Alabama, we had to visit a lot of farms, and I knew it was going to be a pretty tough task, but I knew he could handle that and knock it out with no problem.
All right, I'm running a little bit late. Ding dong, anybody in there? Hello, is anybody in there? Hey guys. Hey Adam, how you doing? Good. How you Roger, doing? Hi.
How we doing?
These are the Lynches, father-son team. Well, this is nice. Golly, is it brand new?
Brand new, just about, just brand new. We've used it for 1 year.
Obviously, y'all AI, I see the board on the wall.
Yeah.
And then what do they do?
Yeah, we bring them right on up through here to the east division until they get to the handler there. That's where we do our business.
Well, and what happens here, let me show you. The deer are in here, and they come through. They're going to wind up in here.
Yeah.
Okay, and as they wind up in here,
I'll have this up.
he's going to raise the floor up. They're going to come in, and then he's going to drop the floor out, and this goes up. And the reason why this goes up is because when you're working on deer in there, you keep them from kicking you, and they will kick, won't they?
They will kick. They will tear the hide off.
And tell them what happens when they leave here.
Well, they leave here, we drop them down, they go right out this door and right back out.
Let's go out and see what you got.
This is one of our holding pens.
Oh man, Roger, this is nice.
Now this is where they stay in here till they take a little nap before we can handle them.
When they get done in here, going to sleep, you're gonna bring them back in here, and that's when you're gonna impregnate them, right?
Exactly.
Show me some deer.
All righty.
So how many deer do y'all have total?
19.
And how long have y'all been farming?
3 years. We started out with 3 bred does. 10 of them 19 was fawns born this year.
Oh, really? So tell me about these deer.
These are the only 3 bucks we have. We got 1 2-year-old and 2 yearlings in there.
Okay. All these other pens, I mean, I know you've got does and fawns in. How are you breeding them, not just with that one guy?
He'll cover all our does, that 1 2-year-old, back up to the AI.
Let me ask you this, what was it about deer farming that caused you to want to get into it?
Well, my dad's always took me hunting from an early age. I just love to watch them grow, the bucks, what they start and what they end up as. I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, they're kind of addictive. Well, I appreciate y'all showing me around.
Thanks for coming.
Hey, Roger, thank you very much. I appreciate y'all showing me around.
Appreciate you coming.
And yeah, we got lots of Alabama to cover and not a very long time to do it, so I got to get. Northwest Alabama at Hidden Valley Farms. This is Brock Palmer, and Brock, you've been a deer farmer for quite some time, and talk about this black cloth. Somebody may look at it and think, well, that's kind of a mistake. It's something that's not supposed to be like that, but tell them it is supposed to be like that and why.
I leave it loose like that to let the pressure off of the fence when the wind's blowing, and the cloth is up for predators and for the deer to be able to visually see that wire. If they take off running, they don't run into the fence.
I notice you've got a hot wire down here and predator wire down here as well.
Yes.
And so, well, let's take a look at the pens. I want to hear all about your deal. So tell me about your farm. How big is it? How many pens you have, and how many deer you have?
I've got 10 acres. I've got 55 deer, and I've got 9 pens here.
So how long have you been deer farming, and why did you get in it?
I've been deer farming about 6 years, and about like everybody else, just couldn't get enough of seeing deer, being around deer, and when you see these little babies being born and growing up and running around, it's just something that's phenomenal to be around.
Are you a member of NADEFA?
I sure am.
Okay, and I know you're a member of the ADA.
Yes. I think strength in numbers, one voice. Everybody sticks together. There's more power with everybody holding together as one big group of deer farmers.
Right here is one of the Armstrong boys. They're twins. We got Kevin right here, and Kim's gonna be on camera in a little bit. And we're eating peanuts. This is deer food, but this sure is good people food too. We're gonna take a look at their deer and go in here and see what they got. And you know what, peanuts are good. Don't get us started.
We're gonna have a red mouth eating peanuts.
We need to have Dr. Pepper.
Hey, we do.
All right, let's go look at some deer.
We got about 35 deer, including the babies. We've been doing it for 11 years.
End of July, it's hot here in Alabama. Getting close to lunchtime. That's got to be Kim, your brother.
Yes, sir. Keith Warren.
How you doing, Kim?
Good, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Nice to meet you. So you feed Chaffee too?
Yes, sir.
All right, well tell me about this dog right here.
Bonnie, she's 11 years old. She's been one of the ones we started with. She was bottle fed originally. She has really changed the demeanor and the characters of all the other deer that are not bottle fed. She's kind of a mother figure to the rest of them.
It is getting about lunchtime, don't you think?
It is. You can tell by her. She can tell it's lunchtime.
Tell me about the buck over there. That's a pretty nice looking buck.
He is a 2-year-old out of Bambi 727. He's got 29 points right now that we can see. Good mass, good characteristics. He's a gentle deer too. That makes a big point. He's sired a bunch of babies, as you can tell and you can see, and hopefully they'll be half as what he is. They'll be good deer.
Yeah, I tell you what, he's an awesome deer. All right. What about the deer in this next pen?
He is. He's a 2-year-old. He's a son out of Rolex, and more of a typical frame right now. He's got 7 babies that he's sired right now. Hopefully everything goes good. We'll cross those up this fall and see what we can come out with.
Oh, you're gonna have something good. Tell you what, anybody in the deer industry has heard of Rolex. Rolex is a famous deer in the industry. He's an awesome deer, and obviously he throws real well.
Yes.
Well, they're beautiful, beautiful deer.
We've been blessed.
Okay, well, I got a lot of places I got to go in Alabama, but the next place I got to go is I'm buying y'all lunch.
We're gonna buy your lunch.
That'll work. I'm full of peanuts, and I'm not gonna eat the Chaffee, so let's go lunch, boys. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okie doke. Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
I'm Blaine Armstrong, and I'm from Hamilton, Alabama, and I'm proud to be a deer farmer.
Deer and Wildlife Stories is brought to you in part by the North American Deer Farmers Association, DNA Solutions and the North American Deer Registry, New Dart, and Sage Capital Bank.
We're at Bucks and Bulls, and gonna introduce you to Heath Butler here. Heath has been deer farming a long time here in Alabama. Hey Heath, how you doing?
Hey Keith, nice to see you.
Good to see you. Okay, how many deer do you have, and how long have you been deer farming?
We've been deer farming since 1998, about 13 years now. We're up to about 74 head of deer, that's including our fawns.
And you've been a member of the Alabama Deer Association for a long time, haven't you?
Ever since it started, ADA is good about helping people get involved in the deer industry, new people. They support what we do. We all like doing what we're doing. I started this as a hobby and now I do it as a living.
Cool. Well, show me some deer.
Let's go.
So how many total pins you have?
I have a total of 8 pins.
Well, you have a little bit different deal going on here. These are 3-year-olds and there's 2-year-olds and yearlings in the next pen.
Yes, sir.
I've been going around different farms, as you well know, and you're doing something a little bit different. You have a different program than other guys do as far as your genetics and the amount of northern in your herd. I want you to tell everybody about that.
Well, just from my personal experience, the EHD has been really bad here on my farm. I can't speak for the other farmers in the state, but I'm going just to South Texas Genetics and Breeding just because I think personally that they have a little more resistance to the disease.
I appreciate you addressing that issue with the EHD and northern deer versus southern deer. I want y'all to know we're not suggesting you change all southern or all northern. On our program, what we do, we go and we're sharing what the different people believe. And out here, Heath just believes that, hey, southern deer do better on his piece of property. Now, the guy right next door, he may think the northern do better, and that's cool. But that's the cool thing about deer farming, too.
Yes.
We all are trying to do what's best for the deer. Well, you got some pretty ones, and they're all in the shade, just like we are. Yeah. Nice, pretty deer. I know you're not gonna believe this, but we're in a place called Frog Pond, Alabama, and this is Dr. Steve Hammock. And last April, something absolutely horrible happened here. Tell everybody about it and what it did to your farm.
Just 4 months ago, we had a F5 tornado just 2 miles south of here. We had 100-mile-an-hour winds right here, destroyed part of our fencing, our shade cloth. We were really lucky that we didn't have anything go down, and we're making some repairs and just getting everything ready for this fall.
But y'all didn't lose any deer, did you?
Didn't lose any deer, had no injuries of any kind.
All right, show me some deer, big boy.
All right.
You don't have to have a ton of money to do this. Now, to some people, this would be a ton of money, but tell them about, I mean, you're operating on a budget.
We built the barn for less than $8,000 and put in the entire facility for $12,000. And that includes the drop chute and everything. So we keep having the same saying. We're trying to run $1 million operation on a 50-cent budget. We got our 1-year-old bucks, our 2-year-old bucks in separate pens, and we have one 3-year-old buck that's in with the 2-year-olds.
All right, when do you think they're gonna come out of velvet? When do they start stripping it off?
Plus or minus a couple of days, September 10th.
Okay, that's kind of what my deer do too. By the middle of September, it's over. All right, speaking of over, I'm running out of time. I got lots more farmers to meet here in Alabama. Thank you very much.
Enjoyed you coming, appreciate it very much.
We hear a lot of talk these days about prison overcrowding, and I think, yeah, prisons are probably a little bit too crowded. That's a fact. But you know what? If you sit there and think about it, you think, wonder about those guys and gals that are in prison. Were they ever attached to nature? Did they ever hunt and fish? Odds are they didn't. The reason why I say that is if kids go out and they hunt and fish, they just become better people. They become more connected with nature, more connected with their families, more connected with the environment, more connected with the world. And so the way I look at it, there may be too much prison crowding, you better believe it. But one way to stop that from happening in the future is spend time with your kids and take them outside. Like I said, they'll just become better people. For more information on the American Deer and Wildlife Alliance, please join us online at deerwildlifealliance.org. This is Shannon McKinney. Shannon's been a deer farmer here in Alabama, well, before deer farming became a cool thing to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Before it was really cool. We, as the family, my father and I, we grew up just like most people that's in the deer farming business, love of hunting and fishing and the outdoors, and we've had a deer permit since probably the mid-'80s.
There's a lot of farmers over here down south that are bringing in northern genetics and putting them in the herd. But there are issues, health issues, that obviously we want to do what's best for the deer.
Absolutely.
And everybody has an opinion on your deer. Why have you made the decision that you've made?
I'm trying to raise a quality animal that's going to be resistant to the endemic diseases we have here, mainly EHD and blue tongue. I don't spray, or I have foggers, or have a misting system, and I don't vaccinate. I'd rather have my deer exposed to it naturally and maybe lose 2 to 5 on a really bad outbreak or a bad year, and keep my herd resistant so that I won't have any bad losses as far as losing just numbers and numbers and numbers of deer.
Obviously deer die, whether they're in the pens or whether they're out in the wild, deer die, and they die of diseases, but the deer out in the wild die of the exact same diseases that deer on the other side of that wire die of.
Absolutely.
It's just when they die out here, people don't know about it. And so what we're able to do as deer farmers gather a lot of research, a lot of data from deer that are living in the pens, and we know what to do to keep them alive longer and what not to do. And I think that we have helped a lot of people with the free ranging herd. I think we've helped with a lot of information, help them keep their deer
management
bigger.
decisions, no doubt.
I know you've got your kids that help you a bunch.
I do.
How do you feel about deer farming? What does it do for the family?
With farming and deer farming in particular, we're able to kind of nurture and grow that love of wildlife that we have, you know, my wife and I have. And whether or not they stay around the outdoors or live in a rural part of the country, they're still going to have skills that's going to go with them wherever they go and be beneficial to them.
Well, let's go find your kids. I know they're bottle feeding.
Yes,
I have
sir.
enjoyed.
They better be.
Yeah, I've enjoyed this visit. Now let's go see the kids and go look at some more deer.
Right.
I'm Jordan McKinney. I'm from Vine, Alabama, and I'm a deer farmer.
I'm Brock Palmer here in Hamilton, Alabama, and I'm proud to be a deer farmer.
So how many pens do you have and how many deer?
We have 18 pens right now. Fixing to build 5 more, give us 23, and then we'll probably have a little over 300 head of deer right now.
And how long have y'all been deer farming?
I've been doing about 5 years. We've been AI and artificial breeding for 3, going into our 4th year this November.
So all these bucks we're looking at are a result of the artificial insemination?
Yeah, most of them are, yes, right.
I'll tell you what, it is amazing that when you start doing that, how you improve genetics.
Oh, it's unreal. It really is.
Yeah. So y'all DNA everything, don't you?
Yes. These days in deer breeding, that DNA and all that's very important to selling these animals because it's all about the genetics now and the lineage and what they come out of. So we have everything's DNA'd.
So how long have y'all been AIing deer?
3 years, going into our 4th season this November.
It is amazing when you start AIing deer what happens, huh?
It is. It's crazy. Man, this is pretty awesome. This is it's a very relaxing place to be, and this deer farming's it's a great thing. Yeah, deer farming is a relaxing thing to do. It's it can get to you sometimes, but it is very, very relaxing. Days like this, late in the afternoon, man, you come up here and end of summer and see what you've grown. So it's very rewarding, very rewarding. Yeah, the deer industry now is getting very, very competitive, and so you're having to breed with the best of the best, and so that's what we try to do the best we can.
We're over here at the Bucks and Bulls massage parlor. We're looking for the owner right now. I shouldn't have said that. Is this the Bucks and Bulls massage parlor?
It is.
Okay, all right. I thought it was. I need a massage, man. I need to find some air conditioning.
We got
Get
it
that
in
off,
here.
get that off. It is the end of July. We have something special right here. Look at this, we got a baby right here. Looks like it's probably a day old. I'm gonna pick it up if I can catch it. Gummit. I bet I can catch it now.
I hope so. Nope.
I guarantee that's not a newborn.
No.
If that was...
Check this out, Casey.
We're back at the airport, making it barely in time for our flight. We've had a crazy couple of days visiting all the farms here in Alabama, and I hope you enjoyed it. If y'all want to get a hold of any of the farms, all you need to do is get on our website, contact the Alabama Deer Association. And again, the ADA is not made up of just deer farmers. It's made up of deer enthusiasts.
Before you make your next Polaris purchase, you owe it to yourself to check out the #1 Polaris dealer, Hoffpauir Polaris. Log on to keithwarren.net for 24/7 access to more information, more video, and full episodes. Reproductive services for deer and wildlife stories provided by Dr. Ray Favero's Whitetail Genetics.
This program is dedicated to the brave men and women of the United States Armed Forces, past, present, and future. I'm Keith Warren. I'm a hunter.
Talk about dumping him on his butt.
A fisherman.
Wow! Shark fishing with a topwater.
A conservationist.
Don't be bashful. Come on out.
A family man.
Woo, baby.
And I'm proud to be a deer farmer. I'm taking a road trip, and we're going behind the scenes of today's most innovative deer farmers and wildlife management operations in North America. This is Deer and Wildlife Stories.
There are some unbelievably big deer here deep in the heart of Dixie. We're in Alabama, and we're going to start out today's show at the Alabama Deer Association's deer auction.
Now 90,000, now 90,000, now 90,000, $90,000, $90,000.
Yeah, we've got the first annual Alabama Deer Association Tennessee Valley Hunting and Fishing Expo deer auction. Huge success, tons of people around. Really exciting to get to introduce all these people to the exciting world of the deer industry. The Alabama Deer Association wanted to educate, the general public to the deer industry, to tell them about the exciting world of deer farming. Basically to say, hey, this is a lot more fun than raising cattle, and we've been able to do this today.
Now you've seen what deer auctions are like down here in Alabama. Next stop is the farm. This is an absolutely beautiful morning to be down here in Lower Alabama. We're just out of Opp, Alabama, at Southern Grace Deer Farms. This place is run by a fellow by the name of John Lanier. Now yesterday, John had a heck of a day at the auction. He sold half interest of whitetail deer for a ton of money. We're going to introduce you to John right now. Morning. How you doing? You got your helpers with you, huh? Do y'all help with the deer farm?
Yeah, we're getting ready to go bottle feed this morning.
All right. Well, let's go bottle feed. What do you think?
Y'all ready to go bottle feed? Let's go.
All right, let's go. All right. Let's go feed the babies.
There you go.
All right, come on, girls.
Let's go get in the Ranger.
All right. These are the prettiest deer farmers I've been around for a long time. Come on.
Come on, girl. Come on, Ryan.
I can take bigger steps than she can. Come on. Come on, let me help you out. All right, this is Ryan. And the other one is?
This is Bradley, Kate.
All right, good. Take me to your fawns. This deer farm is pretty neat stuff now. There's a lot of people that wind up wanting to find out how can they get into deer farming. We're going to make it easy this year. We have a sweepstakes called Win a Deer Farm. And all you got to do to find out more information is absolutely free. Somebody this year is going to win a deer farm. Go to winadeerfarm.com. Right now, we're fixing to go to the fawn barn. Oh, this is quite the operation. This is so cool. Now let me tell you about bottle raising fawns. People bottle raise doe fawns, not buck fawns. They don't want buck fawns gentle. Doe fawns, they want them gentle on most farms like down here on Southern Grace, and the reason why is because they can get their hands on them. But when deer get sick, they need to be taken care of. And every deer farmer wants to make sure that they take care of the deer properly. So by bottle raising fawns, they stay gentle, and when they get sick, you can get your hands on them, you can medicate them, you can make sure that they're well. But if you're going to be a deer farmer, you're going to bottle feed. The thing is, you're going to need to really be committed to it because it's something that's kind of like a dairy farm. I mean, the dairy farm, those cows got to get milked every single day, and these fawns got to be taken care of every single day. And you may wonder, how old is a fawn before it gets weaned? These fawns can get weaned by about 90 days. That one's already empty. Look at that.
These fawns are all about 6 weeks old. We let them out after about 3 weeks and make sure that their immunity system's up where it needs to be, up to par, and then we start letting them out where they can get some graze and have a little freedom. to roam about as they please. They're like a bunch of kids to start off with. You got to watch them all the time. We're going to go ahead and feed some of these things this morning, see if we can get them to calm down.
What? You don't want any more, you fool? You fool? Is she full? Is she full? That's kind of what I thought. Hey, hey.
If you like the way our show looks on your television set, you're going to absolutely love it when you see it in full HD online. And you can watch it on my website 24/7 free of charge at keithwarren.net. Take a look and you'll see what I'm talking about. Now we got this taken care of. Next up, we're going to go look at some does. Look at you. Huh? Huh?
These are our does. They're all bottle fed. We spend a lot of time in the pens. So that keeps our deer familiar with us, makes them more tamer. They're accustomed to being around us. We've also set these pens up a little bit different than most people. They're not as wide. We go about 100 foot by 250 feet on our pens, and that way our deer have to be around us every time we come in.
How long you been deer farming?
I've been in and out for 3 years. We've come a long way in 3 years.
Yeah.
I started out with just a small amount of deer. I had 5 does and a couple of pens, and I bought my deer bred, and I did really well with it. Then it came along my partner, Walt Rigner. He's from Florida. Walt and I have really done something special out here with these deer.
For being in it as short a period of time as you have been, I mean, you're kicking butt and taking names now, I'm telling you. This is good.
That's Blue 26. That's the doe we sold yesterday at auction. Half interest for $87,500, which is a phenomenal number. And the reason for that being is that she produces so well, like a lot of deer here on our farm. High-end genetics is what we strive for here. You want the absolute best possible genetics you can get on your farm to build your foundation of your place around. And the more of it you have, the bigger deer you're gonna grow. Keith, this is our misting system.
Yep.
If you'll notice, we don't have a lot of bugs on our property, and the main reason is because of these. George Tunall with Guardian Misting Systems came and put these in for us, and he did a great job.
I got the exact same thing on my place, and I'll tell you something, it goes up, what, every hour?
Every hour for a minute and a half.
And if you want to get rid of bugs and you're a deer farmer, call the Deer Guardian. That's all I can say.
Right.
I mean,
That's right.
because it's going to get rid of bugs. That's good.
My partner, Walt Rigner, and I are members of the Alabama Deer Association. We do a lot of funding just for hunters' rights, for education and deer farming, and we're greater in numbers. The Alabama Deer Association is kind of what got me into this. I went to one of their auctions and kind of saw what was going on, and I was blown away. These deer that we're growing as deer farmers are truly unbelievable. It's something that everyone should experience.
So how old are these bucks?
These bucks are, almost all of them are 2. We've got 2 3-year-olds in here, but most of them are 2. A lot of them are reaching well over 200 inches, even getting close to 300 inches at 2 years old.
John, this is amazing. I mean, I am absolutely blown away. These are 2-year-olds for the most part. Yes, look at that. And they're nice, typical bucks.
Yeah, they're real clean, real typical. A buck is really reaching its maximum in these northern genetics at 4 years old.
And you say northern genetics. Typically, how much northern do you have in here?
Typically, I have 100%.
Really?
100%. I sure do.
My goodness.
We breed a little bit of the Texas line, which is some really good stuff also. But primarily, in the past, we bred 100% northern.
This is absolutely beautiful. I have never seen pens that have got the beans growing in and peas growing in here like this. I never have. I mean, this right here, every one of them nipped off. You can look real close and see they're all nipped off, but still, I mean, that's good natural stuff for deer. It's good for their bellies, and well, look at them. They're loving it in here. These are all 1-year-olds.
That's correct. But these guys look better than the 1-year-olds did last year, and you can kind of see what they were doing in the other pen.
When you do this right, you get incredible results. The deal is, though, how do you keep track of all the records? I mean, because that's one thing a lot of people on deer farming, they wind up seeing, you know, we come out here and we feed the deer, we play with deer, have fun with deer. They don't see the paperwork and the record keeping, do they?
I spend about 50% of my day keeping up with paperwork. And we use game management software to keep up with all this. You know, it's great to keep up with shot records, any medications you give your deer, where they've moved, what they've been exposed to, and their offspring, and who's mama and who's daddy, and all that kind of stuff. And which really gets hard keeping up with once you get up to a couple hundred deer, which doesn't take long with these deer having so many babies every year. But the other thing is we DNA 100% of the deer on the farm. Every deer on this farm is DNA'd, and that kind of protects our investors and our clients, and that way they get a great return on their money. It protects them, it also protects us. And DNA Solutions is a great thing. It's really made the deer industry part of what it is today, just because of the fact that now we can keep up with who's who, and we're sure of who's mama's who and who's daddy's who, and it's all based on pedigree and production, but you gotta have pedigree first.
By the time this show runs, these deer are going to be hard antlered and all, but what you need to do is you need to give John a call, because you'll want to come out here next summer and see what these bad boys look like as they're coming on 2 years old, because these are going to blow your mind. Give me your phone number.
My phone number is 334-208-2002. You're welcome to come anytime you want. Call, don't call, we don't care, we're here. So you're welcome to come at any point in time.
Thank you, sir. I got to
it.
get. I got some other farms in Alabama to go to, and I think I got spoiled already. Deer and Wildlife Stories is brought to you in part by the American Deer and Wildlife Alliance, Deer Guardian Misting Systems, DNA Solutions, and the North American Deer Registry, Four Canyons Ranch, Hoff Power Polaris, the Hunter Heritage Foundation, and Record Rack Deer Feeds.
My name is Troy Zucchini. I'm the owner of Troy's Hunt Club out here in Forest Home, Alabama. I have 58 deer on my farm, and I've been deer farming since 2001. I'm a member of ADA, and it's great to have Keith Warren out here. We all really appreciate what he's doing, educating people about the deer farming industry.
What I'm fired up about is that Troy's been breeding whitetail deer here in Alabama longer than anybody I know. We picked a nice cool day to do this, you know.
Yes, we did. There's a lot of nice cool days this time of year.
Yeah, down in lower Alabama, you better believe it. So what are we going to be looking at in here?
Well, this is a pen with some yearlings and some 2-year-olds in it, so I just kind of want to see what you think.
All right. Oh my goodness, there's some nice deer right there. So how many different bucks do you have in here?
I've got 10 bucks in here, 4 yearlings, and the rest are 2-year-olds.
Okay. So these are 1 and 2-year-olds. That big one, he's obviously a 2-year-old. That's a nice deer right there.
Thank you.
Now, is that the result of artificial insemination?
No, that's all live breeding. That's just over the years of me building up my different lines, and he's the best result out of all that. That's the biggest 2-year-old I've ever grown.
Through natural breeding, I mean, you just bred it the hard way. You just bred up, didn't you?
That's right. That's
wow.
Right. And I'm hoping through AI I can do even better. I can build off of that.
Now, AI-wise, you just started to do that, didn't you?
That's right. Just this past year was our first year to AI.
Why did you wait so long?
Well, I wanted to build a good foundation of does, and that way when I did spend the money on semen, I got really, really good results out of it.
Well, the thing that I've noticed is that throughout the years, I mean, the price of semen, really good semen, has come down.
Yes.
I mean, notice that? Thank goodness it's come down. So, I mean, it's making it a whole lot more affordable to artificially inseminate and to produce big deer. That's a heck of a nice pen of 1 and 2-year-olds right there.
Well, thank you. Okay, we got more to show you.
All right. Take me to them.
We're gonna go in here and we'll take a look. I got an assortment of bucks in here. I've got a 5-year-old, I've got 2 yearlings and a 2-year-old I'd like you to look at.
Okay.
I'm gonna throw some corn out. We'll see if we can get them to come up.
Oh yeah. They're sending their scout out. All right, so tell me who this guy is right here. How old is he?
That's actually a 2-year-old. He's
Yeah.
actually a half-brother to the big 2-year-old that we just came from.
Oh, okay.
Same father, different mother.
Okay. What about that big guy in the back with the big brow tines?
He's actually a 5-year-old. He's the father of both of those deer that we were talking about.
Really?
Yes.
Boy, he's got some brow tines on him, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Woo! Who's that guy down on the fence? That guy right there. That's a young wooger, and I'll tell you what, that's a big deer right there.
He is a yearling.
Really?
Yes. He's actually an updraft son.
And that's out of flea stuff.
That's correct.
Yeah. And that's a yearling?
Yes, sir.
Boy, that's a heck of a nice deer. That's a heck of a nice deer. Thanks a bunch.
Thank
it has
you,
been
Keith.
a pleasure to get to see you.
You bet.
I mean, I saw you at the Nadifa show. It's good to see you again. And I got to get, because old George Cagle, he's down the road a ways, and you know I can't be late for George.
That's right.
That's right.
It's time for viewer feedback, brought to you by winadeerfarm.com, presented by High Roller Whitetails. Mr. Keith, you have helped me pull my head out, as some of my new friends say. I'm a new deer farmer thanks to you. When I first started watching your deer farming show, it infuriated me about the thought of raising deer. Then I decided to visit a deer farm, and I'm a changed man. Thanks for sharing your love of the deer with me and my family. God bless you and the white-tailed deer. Sincerely, Jason Ferguson from Wisconsin. Jason, that is a great viewer email, and you know, it's oftentimes a lot of people wind up judging a book by its cover, and I think that's what happens in white-tailed deer farming. You know, a lot of people wind up thinking it's bad until all of a sudden they visit a deer farm, just like you. All of a sudden, yep, you pull your head out. You know, white-tailed deer farming is it's fun. It's something that the people that do it are very passionate about it. I don't know of anybody doing it just for the money, although there is money to be made in it. Everybody that does white-tailed deer farming that I know of does it because they couldn't get enough of white-tailed deer just hunting them. So deer farming, although it's not for everybody, well, Jason Ferguson from Wisconsin is for you, and it's for Keith Warren, and it's for thousands of us around the country. And if you'd like more information about how to become a deer farmer, you can log on to my website, and we'll have a direct link with NADEFA, the North American Deer Farmers Association. You can contact them, and they'll get you all hooked up. Jason, thank you very much for the viewer email and for being a brand new deer farmer. Deer and Wildlife Stories is brought to you in part by winadeerfarm.com, presented by High Roller Whitetails, Game Management Software, the North American Deer Farmers Association, New Dart, and Keith Warren's Texas Hidden Springs Ranch, the best value for Texas trophy deer hunting. We're outside of White City, Alabama at White City Whitetails, owned by George Cagle. Now, George hadn't been deer farming very long, but he sure is making a big name for himself down here. Let's go meet him right now.
I've been deer farming this is my third season. The reason I got into deer farming was because I really have a kinship. The majestic of the deer fascinates me. I've spent hours in the woods with them, and I really wanted to give something back to the deer that I've hunted all my life. Come on, boys. Come on. I got 3 2-year-olds in this pen. These bucks had a terrible heat last year. Of course, they come on pretty good for what they had. We'll see if we can't get some pictures of them. These are a little shyer at 2 than they are at 1.
Yeah, they get a little bit sharper.
I try not to tame my bucks too much.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hot out here today, so they're gonna lay up under that shade. Maybe we can get some good horn shots of them anyhow.
All right, so who we got here, George?
This is the group of does that I AI'd. They're yearlings this year, and I bottle fed these does last year. And,
so this is your first set that you actually did?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Because stress is the #1 killer of deer. So when you keep them this calm and they interact with humans better, their overall livelihood is better in the breeding operation. Try that.
Come here, darling. Come on. If y'all want more information about deer farming, get a hold of me. You can do so by getting on Facebook. We're on Twitter, and there's a bunch of deer farmers already on there, and I can promise you, if you love deer like we love deer, you're gonna feel right at home with us. Come on, girls. All right, George, so if somebody wants to talk to you about deer farming, they want to buy some deer, want to come out, see White City Whitetails, give them your telephone number.
It's 334-799-5355. Be glad to talk to you.
And he's not kidding, he'll talk to you now.
The state of Alabama offers a great opportunity to become a deer farmer because it's relatively a new industry in the state of Alabama. There's a lot of room for other farmers. We have a lot of farmers now, but we can't meet the supply and demand that we need in Alabama right now. The way I would tell you, find your local farmer, call one of the 3 or 4 that you see today on today's show. I guarantee you he'll take the time it takes to answer all your questions. And if you need your hand held a little bit, he'll do that too. Because you'll find in the deer business, there is some good people.
I'm a member of the ADA. It's Alabama Deer Association. It's just a group of deer farmers from all across the state. And I would encourage anybody to join your state organizations, join any of the organizations that help support our industry. Your national organizations, your state organizations, anybody that helps support this industry, you should be supporting.
God has blessed me with 3 wonderful daughters, and I tell you what, I know that they enjoy as much as I do being on this farm, but it's a blessing to have the opportunity to introduce these girls to deer farming, you know, and a farm in general. It gives them so much more to occupy their mind than TV and video games. I believe it builds a great foundation in the beginning of their life. And we have a really good time as a family out here taking care of our farm and feeding our deer. It's hard to believe that you can enjoy something so much and make a living doing it. But what a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing God's blessed us with the deer farming and these three wonderful girls I have that help me here all the time.
If y'all would like more information on the Alabama Deer Association, you can log on to their website, and their address is on the screen right now. Or you can log on to keithwarren.net, where we will have a direct link from our site to theirs. Thanks for watching. Before you make your next Polaris purchase, you owe it to yourself to check out the #1 Polaris dealer in the country, Hoffpauir Polaris. If you'd like to watch full episodes of our programs 24/7 online in full HD, log on to my website at keithwarren.net. There, you'll find the shows, but you'll also find a lot of outtakes and behind-the-scenes videos as well. That's keithwarren.net. Reproductive services for deer and wildlife stories are provided by Whitetail Genetics. This program is dedicated to the brave men and women of the United States Armed Forces, past, present, and future. I'm Keith Warren. I'm a hunter.
What do you think of that? Look at that. Woo!
A fisherman.
2 fish on at one time? Oh my gosh!
A conservationist.
Hey, let go of that nipple. You're done. You're finished.
A family man.
Life is good. I love you, baby.
Love you too.
And I'm proud to be a deer farmer. I'm taking a road trip, and we're going behind the scenes of today's most innovative deer farmers and wildlife management operations in North America. This is Deer and Wildlife Stories. I think this is one of the most beautiful states there is down south. On today's program, we are deep in the heart of Dixie. We're in the great state of Alabama with my friends with the Alabama Deer Association. On today's program, we're going to tell you about the importance the ADA has when it comes to the future of whitetail deer right here in Alabama. And we're going to introduce you to some people. They're special people. They're committed to the whitetail deer and to the future of conservation of whitetail deer. That's what's coming to you today on Deer and Wildlife Stories.
We're at Tenney Farms today in Hanceville, Alabama. We started the farm about 25 years ago as a purebred Santa Gertrudis cattle operation. We've got about 550 head of Santa Gertrudis cattle here, and about 2 years ago in 2010 we decided to get into deer farming, and it's been a lot of fun the past 3 years and learning some new things and what we're doing. And my father had won about everything you could win in the Santa Gertrudis cow business as far as national champions and things like that, and I've never seen him get more excited about when he goes into that buck pen and sees what he's growing out there and the potential, what's possible in the deer industry. My father passed away a month ago, but one thing he did always tell me is being part of the Alabama Deer Association was a big enjoyment to him. He got to meet a lot of really nice people that helped him along in learning what we needed to do and pedigrees and things like that, and he spoke extremely highly of the people that he enjoyed working with in the Alabama Deer Association.
I'm Belinda Kennedy with Southern Yankees Whitetail Farm. Howard was an incredible man. He was generous. He was an incredible member for our association. He had consignments in all of our shows. He sponsored events. He was the kind of guy that if you ever needed anything at all, you knew that Howard would do anything he could to help anybody. He was the very picture of a Southern gentleman.
My name's Rusty Weaver, and I'm a deer farmer here in Alabama. Howard was a member of the Alabama Deer Association and a great asset to our association, very involved, and I think he was able to do something that all of us would like to do, and that's leave a legacy for his family, able to continue his farm and keep it going, something that he had a lot of passion about, and now they can do the same.
I'm Ricky Cleveland with Extreme Whitetails of Alabama. Howard was a friend of mine that I will truly miss. What he did with the industry in such a short time and what he meant to ADA was incredible. His passion for life and his passion for family is something that was an inspiration to me and to my family. ADA will miss him tremendously. What he did in such a short period of time with his breeding operation is just amazing, and that's the way Howard was. He was always about being the best. He had no patience whatsoever for being second best. He wanted to be there, and he wanted to be there now. What he has accomplished will live on for a long time.
My father was an interesting character. Everything he did was big, from the bolt and nut industry to cattle industry and now to the deer industry. And I spent a lot of time over the past 3 years with my father researching the deer and spending a lot of time getting to know and understand what deer farming was all about. And it's a passion that he and I shared tremendously, and we are just scratching the surface of what his vision is for our deer breeding operation, and it's one that I plan to continue to help with my friends that we have through ADA, and I want to see his dream turn into a reality with a deer operation.
It's hard for me to describe the feeling that I have standing here. The man that owned this piece of property, Howard Tenney, he was a big man. He did everything big. He was a legend. I mean, not just in the cattle business, but he was a legend in the short period of time that he was in the deer business. The members of the ADA that I've talked to loved Howard Tenney. I mean, he was a good man. He did good things for a lot of people, and he changed a lot of people's lives for the better. And so as I stand here, you know, he hadn't been gone that long. I got to tell you right now, it's like I feel like I know the guy because I'm leaning against the fence that he built. I'm standing on the land that he turned over with his tractor. I'm seeing all the different things that happened because of that one man, Howard Tenney, and his love of land, family, and a love of our country.
I'm Brad Tenney with Tenney Farms, and you're watching Deer and Wildlife Stories with Keith Warren.
Deer and Wildlife Stories is brought to you in part by Bruton Easy Pull Trailers, Deer Guardian Misting Systems, Game Management Software, the North American Deer Farmers Association, Record Rack Deer Feeds, Whitetail Sales and Service, and Newport Labs. Tenney Farms, this is a beautiful place, and it's a great example of how you can diversify a piece of property and how deer farming will fit in.
Tenney Farms started 25 years ago, and it's been a family farm forever. My mother was from this area, and my father decided to found some land up here and started out with a small farm, a few cattle, and it's blossomed to what it is today. And we didn't live on the farm. I grew up in Birmingham, but every weekend we were up here building fences, clearing land, or doing something. And as a youngster, I didn't appreciate it as much until I got older and would come back and visit and see kind of the hard work that we put into this place pay off in the future. And it's something that I plan on keeping in my family. I've got 4 young sons right now, and I think it's the best place, especially for 4 young boys, to be able to grow up on a farm and get outdoors and get off the couch. So we're up here probably 2 days a week right now and plan on being back up here a lot more in the future. We basically have 7 different pens, fawns and does in pen. Then we have our yearling and 1-year-old bucks in one pen, and then our 2-year-old bucks in another pen that is on the back side of the property. Rodney Floyd started with us in 2011, and he handles all the deer operation, the feeding. He takes care of everything that has to do with deer, and it's been a pleasure working with Rodney and getting to learn and pick his brain on things that he's been doing it a lot longer than we have, and it's been a real pleasure of having Rodney around the farm, and he takes really excellent care of these deer, and I don't know where we'd be without him.
It's the time of the day where it's 5 o'clock. This is the last feeding of the day. We've done it 2 times a day, ready to get them fed up and turn them back loose for the night.
All right. Here's the most enjoyable part of being on a deer farm. Show them what you're gonna do.
We're gonna go down here and bottle feed these.
The guys we have today helping us feed is my son, 6-year-old Townsend, my 4-year-old son, Teddy Moss, and Ethan Taylor is Arlen Taylor, who runs the cattle operation at Tenney Farms' son, and he's 8 years old. This is the first year that I've asked my kids to help us bottle feed, and I literally can't get them out of the pens when we start bottle feeding them. It's been just a great enjoyment to watch them and the kick that they get out of these little deer. It's a little dangerous to get them around cows right now, but they can get in with these deer and really have a good time, and we try not to miss a feeding when we can.
No, deer farming is just great for kids. It's something that being around animals, farm animals, is great for kids, and being around deer is pretty good. Any deer farm you go to, if they've got kids in the family, you're going to have a hard time prying the kids away from the deer because they love the deer so much. So these are your yearling bucks?
Yes, sir. All these are yearlings except for the two-year-olds right there that we're looking at.
Well, that one with the long brow tine?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He's a nice 2-year-old. I'm really excited about this year.
Well, who's this guy up front here? I mean, the guy in front of the one that's got all the stuff on his head.
That's a really nice cardiac kid yearling that I've got that's real wide this year that I'm really looking forward to as a 2-year-old.
So that's a yearling?
That's a yearling.
I mean, and I think if people look at those deer and they just don't even look at the antlers for a second, just look at the deer, you can tell the difference in the body size between the yearlings and the 2-year-olds. And you know, y'all have not been farming very long on this particular farm.
No, so very young.
Yeah, so the age structure, I mean, it's young, but you do have a set of bucks that are older than this?
Yes, sir. Yes,
I want to go look at them in a minute.
Okay.
But these guys right here, I want to point out that these, the genetics from these were all artificially inseminated, weren't they?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what they're out of.
So every one of these deer, they brought the semen in from someplace else and put it in their does here and created those deer right there.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool. All right, show me the other buck pen.
All right, let's go.
All right, so who are these guys?
This is my 2-year-old pen and a few 3-year-olds in this, and then here as well mixed in with them. But like I said, that buck right there, he's a nice 2-year-old. It's real wide.
Yeah.
I'm just really excited about this pen right here as well, because you know as well as I do in the deer business, you can't wait till next year, and this is what I was waiting on next year, to see these guys growing here.
Wow. Well, these again are all from AI.
Yeah, all from AI, yes, sir.
My goodness. I mean, the cool deal is that y'all haven't been on this particular farm. I know you've been deer farming for a long, long time, but on this particular farm, they haven't been doing it, but what, 3 years?
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir,
so,
that's it.
Take a look at the deer they're producing. So you don't have to be producing deer for a long period of time to start producing some big deer.
Exactly. You're exactly right. I mean, everything just fell into place, and this is what outcome is.
All right, how do you keep track of all your breeding and all? Do you have a computer program you use?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I use the GMS system to keep up my pedigrees and start working in November. I mean, with AI in November and start working in February for next year's breeding cycle. It's always looking for next year.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's what I've been using, the GMS system. Without the GMS system, I'd be totally lost. Well, these are some very impressive deer. I'll have to come back here next year, give them another year on them. But that right there, you know, think about this. I mean, in Alabama, those deer right there, 20 years ago, they didn't exist.
No way. 10 years ago, they didn't exist. Just so many of them like that.
And now, look at it.
Exactly.
It's no wonder that people are starting to flock to Alabama to hunt now the way they are, because the quality of deer, well, look what they've done in such a short period of time.
Exactly.
Wow. Good job. All right, well,
Thanks,
listen,
sir.
I'm out of here.
I appreciate it. Anytime you can come back, we'd love to have you here at Tenney Farms.
Well, thank you. I got to head south. I got to go down towards Tuscaloosa. So.
Well, be careful driving.
All righty. Deer and Wildlife Stories is brought to you in part by DNA Solutions and the North American Deer Registry, New Dart, Shock Effect Probiotics, and Keith Warren's Texas Hidden Springs Ranch, the best value for Texas trophy deer hunting. All right, the light is so that you can actually see midge gnats flying around behind me. This particular farm does not have a misting system. If it did, you would not see midge gnats flying behind me like that. Midge gnats are not real good for deer. They can kill deer. They don't kill all deer, but they can make deer plenty sick. So a Deer Guardian misting system, what I've got on my place, well, when you have one of those, you won't see midge gnats like that. What this system does, it has an automatic timer on it, and the tanks are full of liquid that it will push under heavy pressure around the pen system. And they've got a hose going around the top with little nozzles on them. And what happens is at preset times, those nozzles spray out a fine mist of insecticide that drifts across the property and it kills all the bugs. And so what we want to do, we want to reduce the stress, and by putting in a Deer Guardian system, it reduces the deer stress. Don't think for 1 minute that to be a deer farmer, you've got to have a big piece of ground and a lot of fancy stuff, because you don't have to. What I think you have to have if you're going to be a deer farmer, you absolutely positively have to have, is first off, a love for the deer. If you have a love for the deer, everything else will come, because the deer always comes first. So deer farmers come in all shapes and sizes and from all different walks of life, but we all start with the love of the white-tailed deer.
My name is Richard Glass with Buck Fever Whitetails, just south of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I started off deer farming because I love white-tailed deer and I was looking for another source of income. I started off with just a small herd of 6 to 8 does. Now I have over 50 head and 3 pens on 4 acres. And the neat thing is you can have 50 deer on just 4 acres of land and make it profitable. You do not have to have 15, 20 acres. You do not have to have a big farm to have fun in this industry.
My name is Pam Montgomery. My husband Trey and I own and operate a farm called Levelwood here in West Greene, Alabama, which is the central part of the state, almost on the Mississippi line. About 10 years ago, we decided we needed to be in the deer breeding operation because we have a high fence. And we wanted to be able to influence the genetics and change over time and influence the southern genetics that we have here. And so we got into the deer breeding business, and over the years we've made a lot of mistakes. We've learned from them, and we've been able to accomplish things that we wanted to do, but it just took a little longer.
Another nice thing that you can see here at Levelwood is the fact that deer farming is not just for men. Pam loves this just as much as any guy loves it. She's out there every single day in the pen. She knows all of her deer. And like I say, it's high time that people found out that deer farming is not just for guys anymore.
My name's Tab Swan. I'm from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I've been deer farming for about 4 years, and I'm a member of the Alabama Deer Association. My farm is located right outside of Demopolis, Alabama. It's between the Tombigbee and the Black Warrior Rivers, so most of it is flat river bottom country with hardwoods and big open fields. In the beginning, I didn't start out to be a deer farmer. I had a preserve, and my family just loved white-tailed deer, and we bought 3 bred does, more as family pets, and thought that would be it. But as we fell in love with those animals, that has grown, and now I have over 50 deer, and all of a sudden I'm in the deer farming business.
Deer farming is addictive. I kind of find it funny when Tab says that he didn't start out to be a deer farmer. I think a lot of guys actually didn't. They just fall in love with deer. It's a lot of fun, and it's a great thing for a family. If you've got kids that love the outdoors and love hunting, well, like look at Tab and his son. Odds are they're going to love deer farming. It's time for viewer feedback, brought to you by the Deer and Wildlife Stories YouTube channel. Here's a good one. Hey Keith, I went to buy deer from a local deer farmer, and when I asked if he pedigrees his deer, he said no, and that he knew what each deer was out of. How can that be? Should I ever buy unpedigreed deer? Signed, Mitchell from Kentucky. Mitchell, I would not walk, but I would run away from that guy. And the reason why I'm saying that is because pedigrees, a DNA profile through the North American Deer Registry, is all it's doing is just keeping honest people honest. For so many years, deer have been sold that, well, they weren't out of who people said they were. That's the reason why the North American Deer Registry was founded in the first place, just to keep honest people honest. So I wouldn't ever buy a deer, regardless what somebody said or regardless what was on his head, unless he had a pedigree, and I like the pedigree. Mitchell, great question. Thanks for sending it in. Got a question about deer farming or a comment about the show? I'd love to hear from you. Make sure and shoot me an email, and also watch all of our programs and outtakes as well right here on the Deer and Wildlife Stories YouTube channel. The deer industry in Alabama is alive and well, and I mean it's doing really well, where it's not doing as well in other states. And what I mean by that, it's not doing real bad in other states, but the deer industry, just like any industry, has its ups and its downs. And right now, for the past few years, Alabama, the deer industry is on fire. And you may think, well, what's causing that? Well, it's just supply and demand. The borders in Alabama are closed down. You can't bring deer in from other states in the border, across the border. And so what's happening is the deer farmers here in Alabama are producing everything they can produce, and they still can't produce enough animals. And you think, where are these animals going? There's a problem in Alabama. There's a problem all over the United States. It's called land fragmentation. And land fragmentation is when large pieces of property get cut up, and they get cut up, and they get cut up. It's inevitable, it's going to happen. And with land fragmentation, what happens, wildlife management becomes very difficult because you have too many people making decisions. And so with fragmented land, typically the quality of wildlife goes down. But what's happened in Alabama, the people have changed that. And the way that they could get new genetics back, you just don't go to the deer store and just buy genetics, you have to make them. And so that's what the Alabama Deer Association guys are doing. They're making good genetics and putting them back into the land to bring back something that used to be here before man was here, but the genetics here now are as good as they can get.
The ADA is working to preserve the wildlife here in Alabama, not just for the large breeders, but for the small breeders or no breeders at all. We're all in this together for the state and for the wildlife. From the small deer breeders to the large deer breeders, it doesn't matter because we all have the same common goal, we all have the same passion, and we're all members of the ADA, and with that being said, we're all a family, large and small.
If you're in Alabama, I encourage you to check out the ADA, whether you're just a deer farmer, a deer enthusiast, or just a deer hunter. I've been a member of the ADA since it started, and the cool thing about the ADA is it's not just about deer farming, it's about the whole whitetail industry as a whole. The deer hunting end, just the whitetail enthusiasts, and just animal lovers in general.
The Alabama Deer Breeders Association is a great organization because in this industry, we're kind of still pioneers in this sort of thing. When it comes to the veterinary practice or the nutrition issue or just some advice on genetics and what actually works in this area, word of mouth and experience plays a big vital role in making decisions for yourself rather than having to go through someone else's learning curve and pay that expense twice. This association is very good about sharing information, very good about coming alongside of you and helping you out with whatever your situation is, especially if they've already gone through it. They can give you some advice which will help you build a better program. It also makes us a bigger and better industry, and it's just grown unbelievably in the last 10 years.
Anybody in deer farming business is going to have to be a member of the Alabama Deer Association. It's just a wealth of knowledge that you can use for any time that a deer may get sick. You can talk to other members about what kind of medicines have been successful for them. They're just big on helping the community. They even have scholarships for children of some of the members. There have been people in the organization who have sick family members, and they've stepped up and helped them out in their time of need. It's just a great organization, and everybody ought to be a member. The deer farming business is strong in Alabama right now, so if it's something that you're interested in, you should call up the Alabama Deer Association, get the name of some of the members, go visit a few farms, and see if it's something that you and your family would enjoy.
Well, that does it for today's show. And if y'all want more information about any of the deer farms that we visited, you can log on to my website where we'll have a direct link from there to any of the farms. If you'd like more information about the Alabama Deer Association, you can log on to alabamadeerassociation.org. And don't think that the ADA is just for deer farmers. The ADA is for any deer enthusiast. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to watch full episodes of our program 24/7 online in full high definition, log on to my website at deerandwildlifestories.com. There you'll find the shows, but you'll also find a lot of outtakes and behind the scenes videos as well. That's deerandwildlifestories.com. Reproductive services for Deer and Wildlife Stories are provided by Whitetail Genetics.